Is your engine starting to feel tired, sluggish, or just rough around the edges? Maybe it takes a little longer to crank over in the morning, or you are noticing that you have to hit the gas station way more often than you used to. A lot of drivers think this is just what happens when a car gets older, but that is completely wrong. You do not have to accept a slow, gas-guzzling ride. Today, we are going to walk through the exact steps to completely revitalize your powertrain and make it run like it just rolled off the factory floor. Let us start with the absolute lifeblood of your vehicle. You have probably heard the old rule about changing your oil every 3,000 miles. Forget it. That is outdated advice that just drains your wallet. Most modern vehicles running full synthetic oil can easily push past 7,500 miles, and some high-end German cars can even hit 15,000 miles safely. However, waiting too long or just ignoring your owner's manual is a death sentence for the engine block. The internal moving parts, like the camshafts and rod bearings, rely on a microscopic film of oil. When you skip changes, that oil turns into thick sludge, losing its ability to lubricate. You start grinding metal on metal. You do not need to do it too early, but sticking strictly to the manufacturer's interval is the ultimate foundation for a smooth-running machine. Now, let us talk about a part almost everyone neglects until the car starts acting crazy: the throttle body. Every time you step on the gas pedal, a little butterfly valve inside the throttle body opens up to let air into the intake manifold. Over tens of thousands of miles, thick, black carbon soot builds up right around that valve. Eventually, the valve gets sticky. You will notice a really rough idle, terrible throttle response, or the car might even stall out when you come to a red light. Fixing this is incredibly easy. You just disconnect the intake hose, grab a specific throttle body cleaner spray, and use a soft cloth to wipe away the black ring of soot. Do not just spray it wildly into the manifold, gently clean the edges of the butterfly valve until the metal shines again. Once that flap can open and close smoothly, your engine will instantly regain its crisp acceleration. Right next to the throttle body is another critical component that gets dirty and ruins your day: the mass airflow sensor, or MAF sensor. This tiny electronic piece sits inside the intake tract and measures exactly how much air is flowing into the engine. The engine computer uses this data to calculate the perfect amount of fuel to inject. But if this sensor gets coated in microscopic dust or oil residue, it starts sending bad data. Your car might run too rich, burning excess fuel, or too lean, causing a dangerous loss of power and a check engine light. You can fix this in 5 minutes. Unplug the sensor, carefully unscrew it, and spray it down with a dedicated mass airflow sensor cleaner. Never touch the delicate wires inside with your fingers or a rag. Just let the chemical spray do the work and air dry. Once it is clean, your fuel economy will immediately improve. While you have the hood popped, let us discuss something that silently destroys engines from the inside out: your engine coolant. Most people only check their coolant when the car is actively overheating on the side of the highway, and by then, the damage is already done. Coolant does not just keep the engine from boiling over. It also contains heavy anti-corrosion chemicals that protect the aluminum water pump and the delicate internal passages of the engine block. Over time, these chemicals completely break down. The fluid turns acidic and literally starts eating away at the gaskets and metal. Changing your engine coolant every 50,000 miles flushes out all that corrosive rust and scale. It keeps the operating temperature perfectly stable, which means the engine computer does not have to pull timing or reduce power to compensate for excessive heat. It is a massive step in restoring factory performance. An engine is basically a giant air pump. It needs to breathe cleanly to make power. If you are trying to run a marathon while breathing through a thick wool blanket, you are going to struggle. That is exactly what happens when you ignore your engine air filter. A clogged filter chokes the engine, kills your horsepower, and makes turbocharged cars feel incredibly laggy when you step on the pedal. It is the easiest maintenance item you can possibly do. Pop the clips on the plastic airbox, pull the old filter out, and look at it. If it is dark gray or packed with leaves and bugs, throw it away. Drop a fresh, correct-sized filter in there. Make sure the rubber gasket seats properly and clamp the box back down tightly. A clean filter guarantees smooth, unrestricted airflow, which directly translates to sharper acceleration and a quieter running engine. There is a tiny, inexpensive plastic valves sitting on top of your engine that most drivers have never even heard of, but it plays a massive role in how the engine feels. It is called the positive crankcase ventilation valve. As the engine runs, harmful combustion gases slip past the piston rings and build up pressure inside the crankcase. The PCV valve's job is to suck those gases out and route them back into the intake to be safely burned off. But this little valve gets entirely clogged up with thick oil sludge over time. When it gets stuck, that internal engine pressure has nowhere to go. It starts blowing out your oil seals, causing massive leaks, and it ruins your gas mileage. Swapping this valve out usually takes less than 5 minutes and requires no special tools. It keeps the internal engine pressure perfectly balanced, stopping leaks and restoring lost power. Hey, real quick, if you are finding these mechanical tips helpful and want to keep your ride running flawlessly without getting ripped off at the repair shop, take a second to hit that subscribe button. We tackle real automotive knowledge every week, and having you in the community means a lot. Let us get back to reviving your engine. Let us tackle a slightly more intense issue that plagues almost all modern direct injection engines: carbon buildup. In older cars, fuel was sprayed over the intake valves, which constantly washed them clean. But in modern engines, fuel is injected directly into the combustion chamber. This means nothing is washing the back of the intake valves, and over thousands of miles, a thick, hard layer of black carbon bakes onto the metal. It restricts airflow so badly that the engine starts misfiring, idling like a tractor, and losing a ton of top-end power. You can try pouring fuel additives into the gas tank, but for severe cases, you need a professional service called walnut blasting. A mechanic literally blasts crushed walnut shells at high pressure into the intake ports to safely scrub the metal clean without damaging it. Doing this around the 50,000-mile mark is like giving your engine a total reset. The throttle response comes back instantly, and the car feels remarkably lighter on its feet. Even if your intake valves are clean, the fuel injectors themselves can get clogged. These injectors have microscopic holes that spray fuel in a very precise fine mist. Over time, poor quality gasoline leaves behind hard varnish and deposits that block these holes. Instead of a fine mist, the injector starts shooting a sloppy, uneven stream of raw gas. Your engine will hesitate, stumble under hard acceleration, and burn way more fuel than it should. You can grab a high-quality fuel system cleaner from the auto parts store to maintain them, but if the car is running really rough, a professional pressurized cleaning kit is the answer. Forcing a strong solvent directly through the fuel rail melts away years of baked-on grime. It restores that perfect factory spray pattern, meaning you get instant power delivery and significantly better miles per gallon. Speaking of keeping the fuel system clean, you need to be very careful about the gas you put in the tank. Let us clear up a massive myth right now. Putting premium, high-octane fuel into a car designed for regular gas will not give you more horsepower. Octane just prevents the fuel from exploding too early under high compression. But what actually matters for the long-term health of your engine is the quality of the detergent package mixed into the gasoline. If you always buy the absolute cheapest gas from unbranded stations, you are pumping dirty fuel that leaves heavy carbon deposits all over your internal sensors and valves. Stick to gas stations that display the top-tier logo. That specific certification means the fuel contains a high level of advanced detergents that actively clean the engine while you drive. Once in a while, throwing a bottle of a proven additive like Techron into a full tank gives you an extra layer of protection. Clean fuel means a clean burn, and a clean burn means maximum performance. Sometimes the engine block itself is perfectly fine, but the bolt-on accessories surrounding it are dragging the whole system down. Spark plugs and ignition coils are prime examples. A spark plug has to fire millions of times, creating a tiny bolt of lightning to ignite the fuel. Eventually, the metal electrode wears down, the gap gets too wide, and the spark gets incredibly weak. A weak spark means incomplete combustion. You lose up to 30% of your engine power simply because the plugs are old. Do not wait for the engine to start aggressively misfiring. Pull the plugs and replace them at the recommended mileage. It is a fast driveway job that brings back the snaps and responsiveness of a new motor. Also, pay attention to aging vacuum hoses. A tiny crack in a rubber hose lets unmetered air into the intake, throwing off the entire air-fuel mixture and causing a rough, surging idle. Replacing brittle rubber lines under the hood is a massive step in restoring reliability. Here is a detail that almost everybody ignores until it triggers a check engine light on the dashboard: your fuel filler cap. It is not just a plastic cover. It is a critical seal for the evaporative emissions system. If the rubber O-ring gasket on the inside of the cap gets dry, cracked, or dirty, the system loses pressure. The car's computer senses the leak and assumes fuel vapors are escaping into the atmosphere. This can actually cause the engine to run rough, stumble at idle, and absolutely tank your fuel economy. Before you assume you have a massive engine failure, unscrew the cap and look at the rubber seal. Take a clean rag, spray a tiny bit of penetrating oil on it, and wipe the rubber gasket and the metal filler neck on the car completely clean of any dust or grit. If the rubber is heavily cracked, throw the cap away and get a brand new factory replacement. When you put it back on, make sure you hear it click multiple times. That solid click means the seal is locked tight and the system is fully pressurized. Finally, we have to talk about a hidden factor that makes your engine feel incredibly sluggish even if the motor itself is running perfectly: your tire pressure. It sounds completely unrelated, but think about the physics involved. If your tires are underinflated by just a few pounds per square inch, the footprint of the rubber on the asphalt gets much wider. This drastically increases the rolling resistance of the vehicle. Your engine literally has to work 20 to 30% harder just to maintain normal highway speeds. That extra load generates excess heat in the transmission, drains your gas tank rapidly, and makes the car feel extremely heavy and slow to respond when you hit the gas pedal. Check the specific sticker located inside your driver's side door jamb, find the correct cold tire pressure, and use a reliable digital gauge to air them up perfectly. By reducing that rolling resistance, you instantly take a massive mechanical burden off the engine. The car will coast smoother, accelerate faster, and feel significantly more agile. Taking care of a complex modern vehicle is not about waiting for something to completely shatter and then replacing it. It is about staying ahead of the wear and tear. By keeping the air flowing freely, the fuel spraying perfectly, and the internal sensors completely clean, you are guaranteeing that the engine operates at absolute peak efficiency. Try knocking out a few of these simple maintenance tasks this weekend in your own driveway. You will be absolutely amazed at how much hidden horsepower and smoothness you can wake up from a high-mileage motor. If you got some solid value out of this mechanical breakdown, do not forget to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into keeping your car running forever. Keep those engines clean, drive safe, and I will catch you in the next one.